Hello, welcome to my channel. It's good to have you here. I love you. So today I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I wanted to discuss and sort of like press into about the system, the structures within it, and just sort of go into this in a criminological perspective. So that this is a GCSE, so it's quite high on the if you're going to study it, you'll probably end up studying this year 9 or something, right? So it might be advanced for you guys, but it might not be, right? Depends, right? So this is like a GCSE, so that'd be like year 9, I guess. And then it's sociology as well, psychology, so it's all mixed in. So criminology is like a mixing of all of the things put together, and it sort of like is a place for it to expand, so we can understand how crime can take place in this domain and how it can fester as well if we don't do anything about it, right? So there are some things that I would like to discuss that pertain to just sort of like criminology, but why it's so important. So why is criminology important? And what it is it assesses the different functions, like the tree and the branch. It assesses the different functions within our society that can either eliminate crime or create it, right? So obviously there's lots of advancements in technology since I was born. So for everybody who's seen that evolve, that's probably the most predominant thing that I can see that's evolved in our society more than anything is AI tech, right? So it's almost like an understanding that this is an era where criminology would be very important to stimulate understandings where crime can be committed online as well. And so, that's one big arena of where regulations need to be put in place. I did say this yesterday. So, but due to the to and fro from which policies are best to do next, what our areas need to be changed in our functions next, it's kind of like misrepresented because they want to pull prisoners out, for example, of prisons early. So if we use that as an analogy, like that makes no sense whatsoever. I think I've spoken about this before, but it makes no sense whatsoever to incorporate these things, to put these things in place, because it's not an aspect of pulling prisoners out, is it? It's an aspect of probably building another prison if that's the case, but then it's also reassessing whether the people that are in prison deserve to be in prison in the first place. So if you have things like burglary and stuff like this, well, that they shouldn't be out there. They're a threat to the public. There's things like this where obviously they're threats to the public. So there obviously are areas there where this needs to sort of be discussed. There needs to be some sort of, is this a crime? I watched someone once get away with, I think he assaulted a police officer. So I was watching him, magistrates. And he got away with hurting a police. He got away with a police officer doing it, punching the police officer. And I was just like, "What? That's on CCTV and everything." They had evidence, and they still didn't do it, right? And it is a form. They are forms of possession, right? They're forms of possession. They can be seen as that. I mean, that's really out there, but if you want to mix occult topics, criminology together, it's kind of like what you're going to get. You're going to get like understanding these things where there's possessions and stuff like this that take place, and I think it's in the Christian, they really did big that one up. They can like remove spirits from your home and stuff like this if you go there. I think I've never been. I don't think they offer that at my church. Near the closest that is to my church, what? It's not my church, but So I don't know. I just think that there are areas there where people can sort of be abused. If somebody wants to put you in a position that shouldn't be in, because you might see something, like you're buggered, like they want you see something, like I wrote, so let's get into this one. We went right out there to go back in. So I saw I did papers on care homes, and this was one of the things that I really did focus on, because I didn't like what was happening in the care homes. I mean, this was one thing that really stuck out to me more than anything when I was studying, and it was just protecting children, taking for child-centered approaches. And when this doesn't take place, it's devastation. It's devastation. Like, you are setting up failure for these children's lives to carry on. You're setting up a lifetime failure for these children if you're not willing to protect them under them circumstances of, like, giving them a child-centered approach where they might be needed to be listened to from independent sources. They might need that. And the common support that's going around now in the UK is that there is no supporting systems. They've all been shut down, right? You've got Sure Starts. A lot of them have been closed down, right? You might have a few that are left in the bigger estates, but they are predominantly been taken out. The support services, they're contact centres, okay? They've turned them into contact centres, right? So this is another thing, public services. There's been a very big concern since 2020 where they have removed the support services. They just did away with them completely, right? So this isn't taking a child-centered approach, is it? Right? And I've also noticed as well that people don't, if they want something to go their way, they lie. They create a gauge in narrative in society to lie. And it's a structural dismantling, okay? So there's many reasons why this can take place. But the first and foremost reason why this is happening is because the rate of children are going into care at mass rates, okay? This is what is happening with children. They're going into care and staying there, right? Their parents aren't seeing them again. There's no access for these children to go back to their parents. It's almost like they are fixing a systematic process to destroy the nuclear family. Nuke the family. Nuclear, right? So we'll take that away. It's a traditional family. And, they've nuked it. So the reality is that all you old dudes up there in them positions who are calling all the shots, it's all right, because when you called that shot, you realise that your life next time ain't going to be like what you think it is, mate. You're going to get dragged up like you for it, right? And this is why the judges are always the ones in the positions, right? Because in the book, in the Christian Bible, they talk about it like they're the judges, right? So the judges are always the ones that are different. They always relay a different attitude. They're all different, and they all have to choose, because it's what their next incarnation is going to be about. How they treat people will be their next incarnation. So usually it's the judges that are ones in the firing lines a lot. They hold a lot of power. They have a lot of prestige in a dominated world, along with obviously economists and solicitors, MPs and things like this. They all hold it like a prestige, and it's because they're the ones that are being tested. That's why they're in the public. That's why they're there. They're being tested. This is their life test. Everyone's tested, but if you're lying about somebody, that's a different kind of thing. That's a Jesus energy, right? Because you're lying about it. Because they burnt. They what did they do? They hung him, didn't they? For healing people, or did they put him on a cross for healing people? That's what they did. They put him on a cross, healing people, right? So it's almost like you've done that to somebody who was innocent. Right, so this is kind of like a Jesus. Because if you sacrifice somebody because you're lying about them, you're lying about this person's character, how this person projects themselves, what this person really is engaged towards, change in what context, things like this. And when this is being put in a firing line, usually the reason why this happens is because it's almost like you've made that person the sacrifice to whatever it is that your agenda was to fulfill. But what will happen is that you will all live lifetimes of misery in next lifetimes. And there's a reason, right? And there's a reason, because you've lied, right? So when you all lie about these people who are innocent, or children who are innocent, especially children, you're not taking child-centered approaches, right? You think all is well because you might have got a bit of tech, you might have got a bit of dollar, you might have figured some things out, but you got to realise that we're going to go to a next level, we're going to another level, and it's an incarnational concept. And when you've broke incarnational rules as well, right, because you might not want to come back and all that, you know, you might try to set yourself up so you're something else, and it, no, mate, that doesn't work like that, right? This is where you will encounter an understanding before death, where you will feel, oh my God, I've done something wrong, terribly wrong. And some people don't feel it until they pass. Some people will never feel it until they leave. Some people just go, oh, this is mine because it has this is another analogy of an incarnational understanding rather than an incarnational understanding. But I was shown that, like, you do a life and then it goes back onto itself, but it doesn't. It does not go back onto itself. It's a form of understanding how they want to void people out, make you think that you deserved it because you did something, so you didn't have nothing when you was younger, so that when you're older you act and continue acting in bad ways, when that's not the case. It's because somebody's done it onto you. It means that a lot of people don't want to be a Jesus because nobody wants to be a sacrifice, right? So this is another thing as well. Nobody wants to be Jesus. No one wants to be a sacrifice. You know, it's right in the middle. It's the six of beauty. You know, nobody wants that role. So they're all running to judgment, trying to judge other people so they can hide. So this is the Holy Grail concept. So if you're a Holy Grail and people have obviously taken advantage of you, your next lifetimes will go to absolute chaos, right? You think you've got it all now. Well, it probably won't even be like that as well when you, in a couple of years. Like, I know some people like who have been struggling, and you know, they try to put it all on you so that you can obviously take all that burden. But then you'll sit there and you won't be a sacrifice, but you'll put somebody else in that sacrifice line because you're scared of your own doings, right? You're scared. You're all scared of what you've all done. So you all scramble, okay? This is an aspect of being pushed into judgment, but you're not, you're all in Darth, right? You never made it. Never made it. You're just experiencing other people's experiences in Darth. Okay, that's where you've left. That's where you are. You might be experiencing your own or other people as you're in Darth, right? So I've heard this before. We're all one, da da da. No, you're in Darth. You're not going to bloody Darth, right? This is why. Because you're in Darth. Everyone's experiencing the same energy. You're all in there. You're not all one. So it's kind of like an obstacle course, and they kind of want you to go on it, and it's like a little merry-go-round. And the reality is that it's a load of crap. You know, just jump back to where you come from. Papa. People think it's funny because of my own personal situation, right? Because I'm a criminologist as well. And the reality is that spiritually, what people can do is they can try and like reiterate stuff to you in 5D. You've got some not good people around you that don't want you to win. Usually what can happen is we can be faced with a lot of turmoil because they want it to go a certain way, right? So what you'll notice is that maybe you might decide you want to do a psychology course. Next minute, you know, you're not doing a psychology course anymore. You can't do it. You know, your head's on fire. You can't think straight and there's something ain't right. Well, that's probably because they don't want you to do a psychology course. Right? I was supposed to do a psychology course in 2000, something, I can't remember now. I was supposed to be doing a psychology course, right? I was meant to do that. That's what I was meant to do first. I was going to do a psychology course. Be a doctor in psychology. That was what I wanted to do before I decided to go on to criminology, right? Because I already studied it, like psychology from GCSE to A level. So I am not. I'm intermediate, okay? I'm intermediate in psychology. I understand it, right? And so there's some things I don't agree with in psychology. And, I also have noticed as well that there's been a sabotage in my life that's been taking place for a while now. And I can see who it is. And a lot of them people actually aren't even they've never took a psychology course. They've never done sociology. They've never experienced a social science at all in their lives. Okay. They just say it's within them, but they've never learned anything. They've never, this is how you can tell that they're handlers as well. Okay. Because you have to have somebody who is obviously, to a degree, understandably. Yeah, you might have an MA in whatever, but you actually understanding it, or you just textbooking it, right? So I hear this a lot as well. Gemma's textbook. She's a textbook because she's got a degree, so she's a textbook. But it's not. There's two sides to this, right? And you have to understand this. When you don't understand until you go through it, and that there has to be an element there where you can sort of understand what's going on within society, and then also create that gauge within your own opinion. Because if you don't do that, then it doesn't make any sense. A lot of people are looking for people as well to support them on channels. And there's a lot of people trying to support them on channels who have done really bad things as well. And they've done it because they've done it, and this is a direct opinion that I'm going to make, right? And people do it because they don't want to see their own stuff. But what usually is going to happen then, it goes back onto you guys, right? So whatever you do onto me goes back onto you, okay? I'm serious. So the analogy of you going forward and then backward in your lifetimes are absolute rubbish, right? It's not like that. But they're trying to teach you to do that so you never evolve, right? So you got to go forwards, keep going forwards, don't go backwards. This is one of the realities that they were telling me. I think it's funny as well, right? Because they know that there's people out there that are bullying me, that are abusing me, that are taking advantage of me, that are doing things, right? And it's literally got to a point now where I think I had to realise and tell you all I am a holy grail, and that this is probably why this is happening to me. And when people don't help me in return, you won't get any help back. So you know, right? Bang! Last time, bang! Last time, bang! So I see now. I see now the draconius energy that's flying around. It's when I had a little dragon on the back of me. Right? Why, Draco Queen? Why? Slaying the demons, slaying the demonic energies. Right? There's a truth in this. It's a cause. Yeah. You have to slay the demons. I think I figured this one out a while ago. And I noticed that sometimes they're not just demons, they're just people. So you have to understand this from a psychological underpinning. Demonic energy is like a spirit, an unknown entity. This is how you can sort of coin that understanding. But then you've got people who are actually like that, who actually are like that want to ruin your life. So it's like a 3D understanding of it. So obviously, people aren't taking child-centered approaches, and it's obvious to see that. There's a lot of corruption taking place under allowed policies that Conservatives have allowed in. I think Labour really needs to pick up the slack now when it comes to services, opening up the support services again for the children, collapsing the soliciting communities to stop them from taking children into care homes and leaving them there with second-hand lies. So obviously, like, they're not first-hand truths, they're lies, or the children have been bullied into saying it, or they've been whatever. You know, there's a lot of things going on there that we need to sort of look at. I think Steinmeier, you need to really like get in on this one. You know, realise that there's a lot of stuff going on in these childcare homes, right? There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things that, you know, these mums aren't seeing the kids again. The tariff's gone up. This is something you need to really mark a difference, because this is going to be what's going to happen next. So AI, tech, and the kids. These are my primary focuses. AI technology needs to be regulated, and the kids, they need to be back with their parents as soon as possible. Like the ones who actually cared about them in the first place. You know them. You know those mums. You know those dads. You know originally. You know, those ones. Yeah. So I think really the reality is that, you know, to a connotation of sitting at somebody's feet, well, I can go sit in my own chair, mate. Yeah. Go sit in my own chair and I'll go wait and see if someone actually can understand this. You know, no one wanted to rise up there with me. You all wanted to sit in inversions, right? None of you wanted to rise with me. None of you. So I noticed that, and there's a lot of potential partners out there, whatever, or working relationships or spiritual relationships as well. Let's bring this in. There's a lot of people who don't want to work with me. They don't want to rise. And I'm not talking about a programmable state. I'm talking about an I know energy, right? You don't want to understand. You don't want to rise there. You don't want to, okay? So reality is that if you don't want to rise, if you don't want to understand, come to an understanding, if you don't want to understand a truth, which is a crown concept, it's not a fucking queen, right? It's a crown concept, right? So if you want to understand this, because, you know, a lot of people just look at you and think, oh, she wants to be a queen. Oh, she wants to take the monarch out. Let's go kill her. So the truth be told is that I just wanted to understand the Kabbalah, mate, and I just wanted to like break that down. You know, we all have our own chakra energy points and our own I know energies, and you know, some people don't like you to have it either. They want you to be in an inverted state. So let's talk about possession now, and let's get into this a little bit. Possession in inverted states. Well, if you're sitting in an inverted state, my sweetheart, you're going to be an inverted in some degree. I think you need to come out of the old cave that you've been sat in there for a long time. I think you need to rise up, see what's to behold. Because it's an I know energy. You're all stuck in your books like this. And you're not seeing an I know energy. It's been very hard when you worked in the system for a long time. They're very hard for you to evolve from these spaces, because, you know, your work is important as well, but religion's important as well, because this is what brings the moral ethic, code and conduct and understanding to this plane. And yeah, obviously it's been inverted, but if you're going to sit in an inversion yourself, well, that's what's going to take place, an inversion. So you all need to rise. You all need to rise by yourselves as adults. And you need to rise to an I know energy. And this is meant to be a goal, so you can acquire this. Not programmable state. Understanding the truth. It's not a play. Not this one. So, you know, it's an eye for an eye, or you did it to him, I'm going to do it to you, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, that's pathetic, isn't it? Is that a form of retribution, is that? That's some bullying. It's entrapment, bullying. Miscarriage is justice. It all falls out. And then the truth is there. It all falls out. And the reality is that you want to push this to the whole world. I think I'm their enemy. So I know it's connotation, but it's like that. The reason why is because when people influence and manipulate our lives, they want us to make us think that we're not worthy enough to have what is ours. And it's an aspect of showing that we are in a time where we are sacrificing, like a Jesus, we are sacrificing what should be at the top. What's that? Mother and children. Right? Sacrificing it. Christians. Mother, children energy. And that's the analogy to use as well when we understand how we treat people in our public sectors. Because there's a lot of people out there who understand this, but still don't care. Until it happens to you. Right? And it's probably happened to a lot of you. It's probably why you're still in your jobs doing it. Like, oh well, I got inverted ages ago, I'm still going to carry on acting like a... And the reality is that who are you doing it to? Women and children. It's always the most vulnerable people in society, and it needs to stop because we are not your sacrifice. Right? We are not your sacrifice in this. We're not your sacrifice. And I did use a connotation to understanding to cut the red tape. Yeah, cut the red tape in childcare homes. You know, a lot of these children shouldn't even be in care. So I'm going to end this out on an example. A lot of these children that are going into care shouldn't even be in care. They're trying to stimulate economy, aren't they? Well, they're doing something. Right? I might get shot for saying this, but oh well. And it's a connotation, it's not a truth, obviously, but you never know. You never know. So, you know, a lot of these children shouldn't even be in care. Are they? Right? So we know this. It's blatantly obvious. It's written right on your foreheads when you come in and see you. Look at the stats. See, it's written on right on your head. It's so obvious. And it's just there, all the stats. And the reality that, you know, you could be a really good dude, but you're just being told what to do. But you have power in your positions. You're just being told, though, to do it. They don't like you. You're being told to do something, and you actually listen to them. Like in your jobs and that, when you're lying and that. I don't like you lot, mate. I don't like any of you lot. I don't bless you. I won't bless you. You know, I like how you understand that, you know, this world is maybe just more evil than it is good, but it's not. It's just your perception of your reality because where you've been for so long. You know, I've been in your jobs that long, listening to all that bad stuff. It's almost like, why don't you just understand that you're sat in an inverted state and you always have to rise out of that every time. Am I helping you? You have to rise out of that every time. You can't stay there. So it's an aspect of understanding clocking off. That might be one, right? But it doesn't make it peaceful, does it? Knowing that all those children shouldn't be where they are. It's conflicting, isn't it? It is. So the reality is that there's a truth behind what I'm saying. Is that you can't sacrifice us. You can't sacrifice Jesus and Mary anymore. You're not allowed. You're not allowed to sacrifice Mary or Jesus, and the connotations to these, mother and child. Okay? Because you purport an aspect of Christianity. You purport it because there's a church all over the place. You don't follow through with the actual true essence of what Christianity represents, which is protecting mother and children. What's wrong with beauty? Why are you attacking Asherah's pole? Why do you attack Asherah's pole? It's because you don't understand what you've done wrong. None of you do. And, you know, the reality is that there's probably a lot of illegalities that are going on to be able to conduct the way you're conducting. And you know, it's plain it's as plain as the nose on your face that discrimination that gets taken place in these realms are actually against women, and women do it to other women, right? Women do it to other women as well, right? And they do it because they're either being bullied to do it, or they've been told to do it by someone else who's a bully, right? And you're not forgiven either, right? See all these women and children that are suffering under a church Christian religion, right? And you're all supposed to be adhering to it, because I'm all of them. I'm all of them. So that's my little 2 cents on this today, on a topic of the truth, how we can evolve in our society, what needs to stop, right? Just picking on women and children, doing this, picking on them, picking on women and kids. And, you know, you probably get a lot of money for it as well. Well, you get a lot of money for it, and, you know, was it legal child trafficking, legal child abduction? Is that what it's called? Is it legal child abduction? Yeah, legal child abduction, legal child trafficking. You know, it's all there, isn't it? You know, are we doing this? Are we doing this illegally as well? I mean, you got some stuff doing it legal, and we're doing it illegally as well, right? What's going on? I call for change. And if Stammer don't do it, someone else has got to, because you need to reopen support services for children, public health sectors. You need to open them up again, because COVID ain't happening anymore. So in June, the World Health Organization said there is no threat anymore. So why aren't we reopening child support services? Why are you restricting people from achieving a support? Why are you taking away this? Why are you taking this away? Mercy. And pushing everyone into judgment. So you've got all your mothers, that's mother energy. Feminine energy. Masculine energy. Right? So you've got mothers who are being treated, and children who have been what? Spiritual abuse. Right? Spiritual. When it comes to this stuff, it becomes spiritual. So, you know, I like my taboo topics. Pluto, Scorpio, 3rd house. So obviously I have things that I want to say about that, and I'm going to. So that's a bit of mix up of everything, really, that I have to discuss with you all. Have a good day.